See people joining in. Hey, hi Vignesh. Hey, hi. Okay, we have a minute more, then we can get started. Maybe we'll wait for maybe another minute or two, then we'll start. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know if you are able to see the screen. Just put it in chat window, some thumbs up or something that will help. Are you able to see the screen? All right, thanks, fine. Okay, I think we can wait maybe for another 30 seconds and we'll start. Probably people will be joining in sometime. It's been a while. Thank you for confirming. All right, I think we should start in the interest of time because I have packed agenda. So let's get started. Okay, first of all, thank you so much for taking your time and joining the live session. So it's been a while, maybe around 9 months that we haven't met as part of live session. So definitely from now on, we will be having live sessions more. Okay, so today's topic is one more addition to the Agile metrics that what we have seen in the month of December. We talked about part one, and we also covered topics like velocity, say-do ratio, and in that episode, I remember we talked more about KPIs, metrics, OKRs, and all those stuff. Today, it's all about flow and flow metrics. Okay, so it's very interesting. Usually, metrics means it's all about revolving around velocity, say-do ratio, and product backlog health and all those stuff. But today, for a change, yes, we will be touching upon velocity for sure. Without velocity, there is no metrics. It's all about prediction, right? But today we'll be covering some more metrics, which will be definitely interesting. This is not only for Scrum framework. You can definitely use it in the Kanban framework as well. So that's a additional point I just want to mention. All right. So Today's agenda, as I mentioned, it's packed agenda. We will talk about what is flow, then flow metrics, why, first of all, flow metrics, and what is the specific thing. And we have different other metrics. What is the special in this flow metric and what it actually helps us to figure out. And in that, we are going to cover five metrics: flow velocity, flow time, flow efficiency, flow load, flow distribution. And okay, we understood all these things and also the purpose of these metrics. From these metrics, how are we going to track and analyze the details and what action we can take further for the continuous improvement? That's the whole picture we are going to cover today. Uh, for sure, it will be like for 1 hour, but I really encourage you all to put your questions, whatever you are coming up with. I'll definitely answer those questions at the end of the session. Please restrict the questions related to this topic. I like to answer any kind of question related to Agile project management, but it may deviate the flow again, right? So that's the whole idea. So you can put it, but definitely I'll try to figure out in some session to answer those questions, or maybe at the end, or maybe as a comment in another video. I'll definitely do that. But please put your questions around this topic so that it will be beneficial for everyone to understand the overall context. All right, so you all know me. I'll not spend too much time here. We are connected through this YouTube channel. Thank you so much again for trusting and following and learning, and have a happy learning journey as always from my side. So, without further delay, let's get into the topic. Flow. First of all, let's try to understand what is flow. There is a source, there is a destination, there is a movement of work that is happening from source to reach the destination. That's the flow. We always expect the flow to be smooth, continuous, without any kind of issues. That's how we normally look for. But sometimes it happens, right? But by definition, what is a flow? In simple terms, there is a movement of work, smooth movement of work from source and destination. That's flow. Flow is the smooth and continuous movement of work items through a process from start to finish. We follow a process. We'll talk about that in a while. Without unnecessary delays or interruptions. Delays are also blockers. It may turn into blockers. Interruptions can be anything. Okay. So flow means how smoothly work moves from to do to done, which is source and destination. Simple definition. Now I'm going to give it example as usual. Imagine you are going to a coffee shop. Okay, I put cappuccino, my favorite. You can place an order over there. The moment you place an order, the barista prepares the coffee right away. The coffee is ready. They call you, hey, this is your order. Okay. Served at the counter, you enjoy the drink. Smooth flow. This is a process, right? Ordering to delivery, it's a process. There is a process being followed. You are ordering, the preparation is happening, serving. Three major pieces like to do, in progress, and done. Okay. Now, very smooth flow. Let's make it little bit complicated, right? Same coffee shop, long queue, weekend. Okay, long queue at the counter. Payment machine is also slow. It's actually slow because of some reason, maybe some technical glitch or maybe some network issue. Payment machine is also running slow. Barista begins to prepare the cappuccino, what you have ordered, but suddenly someone also came in and there was a conversation and the barista got distracted and there was a delay. And finally, instead of 5 minutes, the first flow, what we have just seen, right? Smooth flow, 5 minutes. Now it took 15 minutes of time. Got the point? You are the customer. The value that I should be getting in 5 minutes, now I'm getting in 15 minutes, which is a very, very huge time just for a cup of coffee. Just for a cup of coffee. Now, what changed here from the first example? The flow got completely interrupted because of different reasons. Payment machine is not working fine, so there is a long queue. First of all, there is a waiting period, and on top of that, machine is also not cooperating. It's slow. In addition to that, people are doing kind of multitasking. Gone. Inefficiency. So these all are different levels of interruptions that got created in the flow. Overall flow got disturbed, and What is the end result? The end result is, instead of 5 minutes, it took 15 minutes of time for a single work item, which is the cup of coffee. Okay, now let's go to the actual connection of work in software project. Most of you would have seen a Kanban board. I have not put it, it's going to come in the upcoming slides. All different columns. I'm going to talk about only three columns to make it simple. To do, in progress, done. What are we expecting here? The flow is nothing but how smoothly the work item is going to start from to do, travels to in progress, and reach done. That work item can be a user story, a task, a bug, technical debt, spike, whatever the items that we are picking it up, right? Cappuccino, espresso, all those items, right? Similarly, our work item also can be of any type. Now, what is happening in the coffee shop? If you take the overall coffee shop as a delivery system, that's what they are doing, right? Ordering, then preparation, then serving. Each cup of coffee, you consider it as a user story, moving through the workflow from to do to done. When no issues, no delays, work is moving, then the flow is completely healthy, right? No disturbance at all. Overall, system is flowing with smoothly without any kind of disturbances, no interruptions. That means the flow is a healthy flow. This is what we aim for. So that, what is the achievement that we are going to do if the flow is healthy? You can deliver to the customer quickly. The values are going to reach the customer faster. We'll see in a while how we can do it. Now, imagine work is waiting too long time. In the in progress, once a developer is writing the code, there is a long waiting period for the review. There is a dependency. You are unable to proceed. The flow got disturbed. You are blocked. That's a poor flow. Okay. So usually flow is something from source to destination, that there is a smooth movement of the work item. If the smooth movement is happening without any kind of disturbances, it is a healthy flow. If there are disturbances, it is a poor flow. We try to get out of the poor flow and always maintain healthy flow. And how it is related to metrics, we'll come to that topic in a while. Now, healthy flow, poor flow. Just some examples. Developer picks a story, completes it in one day, just one day. Next day, immediately tester is validating the story, done. Total time taken is just 2 days, smooth flow. Like the first example of the coffee, right? Ordered cappuccino, immediately delivered it, enjoyed the drink. Awesome, smooth flow, which is a healthy flow. Next situation. Developer finishes the code, but the reviewer is very busy. Just to consider for the review, 3 days waiting period. 3 days, the ticket is in the code review, waiting for someone to pick. No one picked up. Next situation, testing. Another waiting period, 2 days, because tester is busy. No one is ready to pick the ticket, so 2 days waiting. So in this situation itself, 1 day development, 3 plus 2, 5 days waiting period, total 6 days. Flow time drastically increased, right? Please focus on these words, flow time. We are going to talk about all these things. These all are the metrics, actually speaking. So flow time increased. The work spent is for only one day. Actively, we worked only one day. All the 5 days, no one worked. It was just in the system, in the waiting queue. That's all, which shows inefficiency, right? It's all about inefficiency, nothing more. Because the second line I have clearly written that this shows that work is not just delayed due to effort. Just because, okay, I got delayed because I estimated wrong. Instead of 2 days, I estimated like only half day. That means it's because of the effort that we invested. Maybe the estimation is wrong. But here, estimation is not wrong. It's because of the inefficiency. We don't know how to handle the things. The waiting period, the interruption is a different interruption here, which is the waiting period, right? So that's a poor flow. So that is the difference between healthy flow and poor flow, which is very important. Okay, so now we will go to the next slide. Why this flow matters? We are talking about flow from source to destination. It should travel smoothly. There is a smooth transition from A to B. Always, if the flow is not okay, it shows clearly there is a bottleneck. I'm not going to tell what bottleneck now because it needs some analysis, right? But there is for sure a bottleneck. Something is a problem. If we calculate flow in different level of metrics, we can easily predict our system, our delivery cycle. We can clearly predict because, okay, this kind of work it took 5 days. Okay, so which means I can predict now the same kind of work may take 5 days. So, what is the time we are investing? That prediction we can make it easily if we are able to have these kind of flow metrics in our system. And as I mentioned, if flow is healthy, then you can make the value delivery much more quicker, faster value delivery. That's what we all need, right? We all are today having quick feedback cycles, quick deployments, fast deployments, all these terminologies just because we need to reach our customer quickly. But when our system is actually getting into disturbances and interruptions and there is always a delay, then you can imagine we cannot reach our customers quickly and we cannot deliver as we promise the value. So, flow metrics are very important to identify these things. Finally, this is the crux of why we are getting into flow metrics. It supports continuous improvement, right? That's all we need in Agile, continuous improvement. Do not stop where you are. Try to figure out what are the gaps so that you can get into the next level. That's the whole idea. So, continuous improvement through measurable metrics. Again, actionable metrics, not like vanity metrics. We talked about actionable and vanity metrics in the last live session related to metrics. Please check it out because what is the purpose of vanity and what is the purpose of actionable, and why vanity metrics are not generally advisable to use because they don't help us in taking any action. That's the reason through measurable metrics, right? And take actions. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, I don't see any questions in the comment section, so I hope things are okay. All right, so let's get into flow metrics. Flow metrics, again, as I mentioned in the last slide, they are measurable indicators, right? They help team to understand how smoothly and predictably work moves through their delivery process from to do to done. Flow metrics helps in understanding the health, speed, and efficiency of the overall system and the process. With the help of flow metrics, we are not going to identify how fast we are delivering, how effectively we are handling the work in the system. As I mentioned, it's not about 3 days to 2 days or 2 days to 1 day. That's not the whole idea of this. What are the disturbances? How to cross those interruptions and how to make the flow in a healthy way, healthy flow, not a poor flow. That's the whole idea. Whether we are getting into bottlenecks, delays, or too much work in progress items, we will talk about all these terminologies. Do not worry. So, we will be covering all these things as part of flow metrics. Now, first flow metric is flow velocity. I'm going to talk with start with a very simple topic that we all are aware of. We all know what is velocity. But when it comes to flow velocity, I'm not going to talk only from the sprint angle because Kanban doesn't have any sprint cycles, right? So I'm going to use a word called number of completed work items in a specific period of time. It can be a week, it can be even a sprint if you are following Scrum framework. It can be 1 month or it can be 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. Number of completed work items in a specific period. It shows the delivery rate in this time frame how many items got delivered, right? For example, 10 stories completed in a sprint, that means in a sprint, that is the 10 is our velocity. Number of completed items in a specific time period, that's what it shows, right? Now, how are we going to analyze these values? First of all, track the velocity per sprint or per week, whatever the time frame that you are picking it up. Please track the velocity. Now, the first thing is consistency. There is always a question people ask me, like how to increase the velocity. No, the question itself is not sounding that great according to me, because it should be always how to ensure the velocity is consistent. So ensure or look for the consistency rather than increase in the velocity. When we have a stable velocity, that means the team is more of a predictable pattern, because even in a good sprint, even in the bad sprint, things are getting within that range. 25 to 35 is always my team's velocity. Kind of predictable, right? Suddenly 60, suddenly 30, suddenly 10. No, that's a problem. Or suddenly 10, tomorrow 50, day after tomorrow, next sprint 100. That's also kind of like too much of an increase. So it's very important a stable velocity here, which gives you the confidence that it's a predictable team. If always big fluctuations that are happening, right? Too much of fluctuations, that clearly shows that maybe scope changes, right? Scope changes are happening. Team is getting disturbed for different things. Maybe some people are on emergency leave. The people who supposed to review the code, they are not there. Or people who is the key person suddenly have taken leave because of sickness. Whatever may be the situation, right? Unplanned work, suddenly production defects, some kind of ad hoc activities. We don't know what are the things going to come. So you are getting the point. So with the help of velocity, you are trying to figure out many factors. That's the analysis we are going to do with this metric. Always, I'm again quoting this thing. Metrics are not just for calculation. It's not just okay, I measured the metrics, all good, success. No, the moment you are measuring, that's the very first step. Please analyze. First of all, we should understand what is the purpose of even measuring that metric, number one. And after measuring that, let's try to understand what exactly this metric is telling to us. Where are we? After understanding that, please try to get into the situation. What can I change? Because now I know there is a problem in this area. What can I change to make a difference or to make a better tomorrow? That's the whole idea of measuring the metric. So, velocity here, do not think of increasing the velocity. No, look for consistency. And here, as we talked about Scrum, as we talked about Kanban, it's all about velocity per sprint or maybe any time frame. Completed work items in a specific period of time. That's what here velocity means. Because we are also talking about Kanban. Kanban doesn't follow sprint cycles. Okay. Now, look for consistency rather than increase. Stable velocity means it shows that the team is predictable. If you have too much of fluctuations, it's alarming, because it can be because of different reasons. But please get into the root cause and identify what is the problem. Okay, now I try to give different use cases for each and every metric so that we can uh, I may not be able to figure out exactly the reason because I don't have the real data, but I'm just giving what are the possible cases and what are the things that you will be able to understand from that case and what action you can take, right? The first case is all about velocity increasing slightly, as I mentioned, from 25 to 27 or 27 to 28. 20, there's a slight increase. Good sign. Your team is actually picking it up. The stable capacity is getting settled. Your team is no more in the ramp up period. It's all getting stabilized, and the team's flow is also improving. Good sign. No issues at all. Fluctuating heavily. Too much of fluctuations. That means the backlog is not so strong. There is no stability over there, and the priorities are very unclear because sometimes it's so good, sometimes it's so bad. The fluctuation is tremendous. That shows there is no clarity in the overall vision. Velocity is dropping. Clear sign, lot of disturbances for your team in the flow. Some bottlenecks, like people are not completing the review process on time, they are putting in the queue, they are not even taking it up, which is overall delaying the process, and it may slip because of the delay. Next thing, context switching, multitasking. Oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. Okay, I'll complete this. Two items are going to be in incomplete state. Unplanned issues, suddenly something coming in disturb the entire flow, and you try to complete this, and this is priority. You started doing this, you are in middle of this, velocity will drop. So in a nutshell, velocity is all about you are trying to calculate the number of completed items in a specific period of time. It can be a sprint, it can be a week, it can be a month, it can be 2 months, two weeks, whatever it is. After calculating that, you should analyze. Track the velocity. Every sprint or every specific period of time, please track it. Look for consistency, important thing, rather than looking for increment. Check whether it's stable or having big fluctuations or it's slight increment. And this will help you to overall forecast and make some realistic plans. That's very important. It will help you to make some realistic plans overall. All right. So this is about the first thing. To make a realistic plan, you should be able to plan well with real forecasting and prediction. How will you able to get that? With the help of velocity. That's why we look for consistency in the velocity. This is more of a metric that you all are aware of, because in sprint also we calculate average velocity, which is a very, very common metric. Let's get into the next interesting metric, which is a flow time. This is a very interesting metric according to me. Why? This metric is also called a cycle time. This is something many people are aware of, this terminology called cycle time. Total time that you are investing to start the work and complete the work. Development starts and development ready for production, or no, not ready for production, deploy to production. That's your flow time. Why it matters? It exactly tells you how much time we are taking to deliver a value. For example, we started working on Monday and we completed the work on Thursday. That means flow time is 4 days: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days. That's what we are trying to calculate here with the help of flow time. What is the analysis that we are going to do here? Track the flow time for each story. This is very, very important. Last one, we were doing with the help of a sprint or a specific period of time, how many work items we completed. That is velocity. But here it is all about trying to understand how, for each and every item, for each and every ticket, what is the flow time. That's very important. Plot it using control chart or trend line, because trend line helps you to understand how that is with each and every status in the flow, how it is traveling. That projection you will be able to see well with the help of this, the overall flow. Look for increasing trends, that means delays, and outliers, specific slow stories. There will also be some kind of restrictions, right, and exceptions. That's what we are trying to identify here. Now, if flow time is rising, what it says? Work got stuck. Maybe testing delay or review delay. There is some kind of waiting period that got invested in this overall story journey. That's why it got actually delayed. And the delay is the reason for the flow time increase. Flow time is consistent. So predictable, again, predictable delivery system. So these kind of stories, it will take this much of time. This kind of stories, it will take this much of time. That means we can predict the team, we can predict the overall system. Wide variation, too much of variation in the flow time. That means unclear scope. We don't know even what to do. We started somewhere, we are doing something else, and while reaching the definition of done, it is something else expected. Inconsistent process. Now you are able to connect all the dots, because you started a process, but the process itself having lot of inconsistencies. That's the reason you are unable to have a healthy flow. Instead, you are having a poor flow. So if flow time increases, trace where items spend more time. Can be waiting or maybe block time, but where they are investing too much of time. Fix those problems, fix those dependencies, fix those issues. Maybe, let me give an example. Always in your system, you are able to see that whenever a ticket is moved to the review, getting into the review stage, there is always a problem. It takes 3 days of waiting period. Why there is no strong process to say and stop this queue, waiting queue? How can we do that? Why can't we discuss this in daily scrum call? Why it's waiting in this queue? Why this is waiting in this column? Oh, no one is there to pick. No, we should fix this today. And why it is actually getting delayed? We have initially planned this that everyone has this work as well as part of their development. They will also be supporting in the review of their peer. Why it's not happening? Let's ask those questions. Let's make that collaborative decision and involvement to move faster rather than, okay, yeah, I push to review. I will get into the next story. That particular story is staying in the review for 3 days in the waiting queue, not even in the in progress queue. It's in the waiting queue, which is unacceptable completely, right? That's very, very important. So now you're getting, so the moment you realize that flow time is increasing, it's a clear sign that we are crossing lot of bottlenecks. That can be a delay, that can be something as a dependency. We need to fine tune and understand what exactly is the problem. Is it because of a dependency always we are getting into this kind of issue, or is it always because of something that there is a long waiting queue in certain part of the process? We need to identify that and fix it. That's very, very important. All right. Next one, flow efficiency. Wow, how efficient the system is, right? That's always an interesting thing to understand. Active time divided by total time multiplied by 100. What exactly it tells? How much of total time work was actually progressing? This will help you to understand the idle time, which is very, very crucial. For 1 day active work, total 4 days we invested. 3 days is the waiting period. Nothing we did as an active time. In the total 4 days, only 1 day we actively worked, which means just 25% of the efficiency, which is really alarming and concerning, right? How to analyze this? Calculate this regularly. How much efficient we are. Try to always calculate the active time and total time. Compare across sprints or the time frames. Why I'm saying time frame again and again? Because all these metrics can be used in Kanban framework as well. Whenever we talk about the word flow, Kanban comes into picture. Now, low efficiency, like 25% in the previous example, whatever I have shown. Too much of waiting period, right? Reviews, dependencies, too much of disturbances. That's what it says. Rather than working, we are investing more time in the waiting period. Idle time is more than the actual active time. Improving efficiency. Efficiency is improving. Okay, that shows idle time is reducing. Team is better getting into the collaboration, which is very, very, very important. That's what I'm saying. The importance of daily scrum. Please try to connect these dots. Metrics, okay. Ideal time, how to identify the ideal time? Go with the flow time, okay. Flow time, it's actually for every item I'm able to see there are bottlenecks. Try to get into deeper. What sort of dependencies always come into picture? Why we are not identifying that during the refinement? Why are we picking up the items in the sprint planning? First of all, please ask these questions. I'm encouraging not only just learn this and then put it in nice dashboard. No, that's not going to solve, or that's not going to really help us with the details what we are really looking for as part of the metrics. The whole journey of metrics come into the closure part when we are able to make things better with the help of the metrics what we have measured, right? All right. So when you have low efficiency, please discuss in your retrospective discussions. Please, how can we actually reduce the delays? How can we reduce the queues? And how we can, it's not like let's speed up the process, let's develop quickly, let's write the code in a very effective. No, that's not the only thing. Active time is one piece, but why there is too much of idle time? In the total time, more than 75 percentage of the time in the overall delivery system, it's the ticket is just waiting and waiting. It is not even getting into the active mode. That's the concern here. It's not about, oh, please develop the code quickly. No, that's not the problem. See, this is the important thing. I just want to call it out. We are focusing on a topic that is irrelevant if we are trying to fix the coding speed. No, the coding speed is not the problem. The active time is okay. Why there is so much of idle time? Why there is so much of waiting time? So please ensure that if the waiting time is too much, then there is a bigger concern, right? All right. Flow load, very important metric. How many work items are currently in work in progress, WIP limit, WIP limit. You would have heard this term in many places when, if you are having a Kanban framework being used in your system, you will hear this term very commonly. Work in progress limit. Please go with the capacity. Do not overcommit. The moment you kind of overcommit, already signs of failure started, right? So flow load is very important. Do not work in progress limit. I just want to quickly touch upon that point. How to set a WIP limit? Very interesting question, also an interview question. How to set a WIP limit? Please ensure no one is doing multitasking, which means for a person one work item at a time. If you have 5 members team, WIP limit is going to be 5. Can I take 7? Can I take 8? Can I take 10? Of course, you can sit. But if it's a new team and you are trying to understand the right balance, please start with one person, one work at a time. Do not overload, right? If you are trying to overload, overcommit, it will not help. 12 items in progress. Too many. 5. For example, the team size, I have not put the team size. It's 5, for example. In progress items are 12. How is that even possible? This is going to be lot of items which will get into incompleted state. And it's also hard for people to context switch, right? I'm working on this item, then suddenly one bug, then, oh no, multitasking may not help here. So please, when you are selecting the WIP limit, please ensure that you are starting with the number and then try to improve. One work at a time for a person. Do not overload. Do not overcommit. That's the importance of flow load. Now, how to analyze this again? Track the number of active items daily or weekly. This is again specific period of time. Again, I'm calling out that. How many work items actively available in your overall process? Now correlate with flow time and efficiency. What is the relationship, right? Too many items, you can understand flow time will reduce because I'm working sometime here, I'm working on this item sometime, and this item is in the waiting queue, this item is in the blocker. You can understand efficiency is going to go down because there is too much of waiting and idle time. That means efficiency is for sure going to go down. And the moment, the flow time also will go down. Why? Because you have multiple items. What is flow time? The time you are starting to work and the time you are going to deliver it. For sure, you are starting, then you are starting one more item, then you are starting one more item. No, it will not help. So, these all are correlated. Now you are able to understand, okay, flow time, my efficiency is very bad. My team's efficiency is very bad. Get into next level. Go to the flow time. Flow time is for each and every item, right? Please remember that statement. It's not for the entire sprint. It's for each and every item you can calculate the flow time. Try to understand what is the flow time of each and every item. Oh, why these items are taking too much of time? Go to the next level. What's the efficiency of this? Oh man, this is like 25%. What happened to 75% waiting time? Why waiting time? Just because the WIP limit is more. One person working on three items at a time. Why? Right? So that is very, very, very important. So WIP limit rising, that's overload. So slower flow, getting into lot and lot of disturbances. WIP limit is a balanced one, sustainable flow. If you have always like one person working on one item, then it's kind of like a balanced flow. Work in progress dropping suddenly, possibly idle capacity or blocked work. Too much of blocked work. Suddenly, WIP limit has suddenly reduced, the load has suddenly reduced. These all are some of the observations that you can make from the flow load. So, use always WIP limit in your board to control the active work. More WIP limit, longer delivery time. Because flow time is going to increase, and if the efficiency is going to reduce, then you cannot make faster releases. That's the core outcome that you are going to get. Use WIP limits in your board. If you are using Kanban board, you have the option to set the WIP limit. Until and unless that limit, if you are setting, for example, in review, you can have three items at a time. You cannot push the fourth item there until something is done. It's basically like pull based system, right? You cannot push it from the other side. So that's how Kanban. So if you are using Kanban board, I recommend you can set these values in your tool that you are using, maybe Jira or Azure DevOps, so that you can control this very, very effectively using the tool itself, right? All right. Flow distribution. Okay, what it measures? Percentage of different work types. See, it's very important we should have the right balance of items that we are working in a specific period of time. For example, in 1 month we are working only on bugs. That means it shows there is no value delivered. It's all about value correction that we have done using the bugs. So here comes the healthy balance between the new features, bugs, improvement areas, technical debts, all those areas. It should be the right balance. 70% features, 20% bugs, 10% enablers. You can use 15-5-10 rule. It's almost the same. But in a specific period of time, not only from the sprint point of view, again, I'm again mentioning because it's also referring to Kanban. That's the reason. Please ensure you are picking up the right combination of work types. Do not go with one single type. Right? That's very, very important. The distribution is very, very, very important. How are we going to analyze this? Track the percentage of each type across sprints or a period of time, specific period of time. Check alignment with strategic priorities. Always features, mostly features. Risk of rising technical debts. We are not even touching technical debts. That means then there is a problem. That number may increase. Balanced mix. Very good. Because you are going to pick up each and everything. There is no technical challenge going to come. The bug fixes are getting on proper queue and features are getting delivered. That's the right thing. High defects, quality or testing issues that we have. We are not delivering the quality feature. That's why the number of bugs are rising. So the distribution is going to be in a different way. So this is a very important metric to discuss, the balance, what we need to have in retrospectives and reviews. Why reviews, Selvi? Reviews are not meant for this, right? Not for continuous improvement. Reviews are the real place where you are going to talk to your stakeholder to understand what are their expectations. Are they interested in technical debts also? Because you can explain in this way, hey, like in the next coming sprint, we are also going to focus on these areas because these are really concerning areas as of now with respect to technical debts. So that's the reason. Retrospectives, internal discussion for continuous improvement. Review is the place where you are able to connect with your stakeholders to understand. That's also inspect and adapt, right? Inspect the work that what we have completed and adapt to the feedback that what we are receiving for the future and upcoming sprints or the time frame, whatever that we are working, not necessarily always sprint. So that is the purpose why we are calculating the flow distribution. All right. Now, what's the summary of all these metrics? So first one, it's all about flow velocity. So how many work items that we have completed in a sprint or a specific period of time. We can understand the delivery rate, how many items that will be getting delivered in this period of time. Flow time, time from start to finish. We can predict this work can take how much of time. Flow efficiency, what is the active time in the work and what is the idle time. So active time versus total time, what is the wasted effort that that we did as part of the development or the overall process. Flow load, that means WIP count, work in progress count. Proper capacity management. Flow distribution, mix of work types. Balance of priorities. Of course, it's priority, but you should also go with the right balance. It should not just go with, okay, I'll only take bugs because they are priority. No, it should be the combination of features, technical depths, and everything, right? Okay, so I think we reached the summary. And these all are some of the things I just want to quickly call it out. If you are looking for any kind of mentoring session, there is a free mentoring session I provide as part of the mentoring club. You can reach out to me over there. And if you are actually like trying to use TopMate, it's a service, but paid service as part of TopMate. You will be able to reach out in different sections like career guidance, one-on-one. Most of the things are one-on-one there. There is no such group training or mentoring session I do. So I have recently completed PMP. It's been like 3 to 4 months. Yeah. So I have also placed a free mentoring call related to PMP. I have seen a lot of people participated in that to gain some insights about the PMP and the preparation related to it. Uh, that has that has ended, I believe. Yes, that has ended. But you can reach out to me through TopMate in any of these things. uh, Above all, you can definitely comment, ask your questions, and also try to participate in the quiz. I'm seeing a lot of participation these days, which is a real motivation factor for me to drive that. Today's quiz will be getting updated in some time after this session. So I'm seeing a lot of participation, which is a very, very good thing. Please continue doing that, and you will be able to learn a lot of things as part of the quiz as well. And all right, and last one. Yes, thank you so much. So, if any questions, I'll be happy to take the questions. If no questions, then I think we can wind up the call. Let me give a minute or two for people to put the questions if they have any. Okay, I believe seems no questions. Hopefully, it was an interesting session. We will try to have more live sessions because we missed a lot in the last almost 8 to 9 months. So I'll ensure that we will have more sessions in the upcoming days. Uh, if you feel any topics that will be really interesting for you, I'm just going in some order for the session and for the live sessions, especially with the topics from my side. Please feel free to add any kind of topics that will be interesting, and we will have a poll and we will decide on that. All right. So, no questions. Thank you so much, people, for joining. Happy weekend and happy learning. Thank you so much.